Fortnite x Squid Game is finally becoming real, you guys. This is actually happening. It's not a just concept this time. Fortnite is officially collaborating with Squid Game, and it's way more than just a basic skin collab like we see most of the time. We're talking a full UEFN creative integration, gameplay possibilities, and honestly a huge shift in how collabs are going to work inside of Fortnite. There's a lot to go over in this, from creative tools to live action teasers, and this could mean a lot for the future of Fortnite content and what creator-made games are actually going to look like in the future. So just today, Epic Games announced this at the 2025 State of Unreal event, which is what they do every single year. They talk about what they're doing with UEFN as well as the Unreal Engine overall. And this collab lines up perfectly with the launch of Squid Game Season 3 on Netflix. That alone just goes to show how major this is overall. Now, this isn't just some random skin drop either. This is an officially licensed integration with assets, probably environments, and core elements available for creators of Fortnite maps to use. Now, when exactly is this coming out? It's going to be coming June 27th is the go live date of all of these assets and the UEFN integration, which is actually right around the corner and which will come out a lot sooner than you guys think. This might be one of Fortnite's most anticipated crossovers yet. We've seen all types of like concepts for Squid Game stuff. You know, there's Octo Game and creative and things like that. I assume that June 27th will probably also be the date that we get skins, and while we don't have really any information on these skins, you guys can probably assume what they're going to look like outside of, you know, maybe some of the official actors, like their looks and everything from the show, the actual characters. We will definitely have the guards with, you know, their red suit as well as the shapes on their mask for sure. I can almost guarantee, even though I don't have actual confirmation from Epic Games, I can probably guarantee that that's going to be at least one of the skins in this collaboration. Now, this shows that Epic Games has clear intent to use Fortnite as a platform still. You know, games, shows, UEFN, real-world marketing, it's all going to cross over, and I'm really excited for kind of like this new era of Fortnite collabs if they decide to keep doing this overall. Now, like I touched on a little bit there, UEFN creators will be able to use actual Squid Game assets, meaning things maybe, you know, like the red light, green light arena, you know, character props, UI elements can be built into actual custom maps that people can make, and because it's backed up by Squid Game themselves and everybody, you know, they have the rights to it, then they'll be able to do a lot more like engaging stuff and a lot more accurate and polished games inside of Fortnite. Right now, we really just have community-made interpretations that are kind of using the same sort of like old Fortnite props and stuff that people don't really have permission to be using. That's why they have to call it Octo Game and stuff like that, because it's not officially licensed by Squid Game. The level of detail that this unlocks is actually wild, especially if they bring in actual, you know, character voices or iconic game logic into UEFN and they're actually able to like incorporate it with the game. In terms of how deep they're actually going to be able to go with this, I'm not 100% sure, but I do think it could be really cool. This could mark a real pivot for UEFN where IPs are used not just like to decorate, and I've talked about this before, how I wanted Fortnite to go a bit deeper with collabs because they were getting a little bit stale. You know, there's a new collab and it's like, oh, they're bringing skins out and then that's it. They might be an NPC on the map or something like that, but outside of that, there's really not much to it. And I really like that Fortnite is doing this where they're incorporating them not just to be cosmetics, but to drive like entirely new gameplay experiences. And just to add on here already, Star Wars is already confirmed to be next, and we're going to be able to use UEFN stuff that's with the Star Wars IP inside of UEFN and inside of creative maps, like stuff that's actually licensed. A lot of people have talked about this before, and I've thought of this quite a bit as well, how much better creative and UEFN would be if we had every single collab item inside of creative. You know, the Last Airbender stuff, Avatar, is going to be added into UEFN as well and into creative, and we'll be able to use those things. And if Squid Game and Star Wars are getting like a full asset integration, imagine what this opens up. You know, Marvel, maybe even if Fortnite wants to revisit, you know, the Stranger Things collab for when that comes out, that could be really awesome. You know, even original Epic IPs could come next as well. Up until now, most UEFN creative maps are kind of stuck using the generic props, but this lets creators build true like branded gameplay experiences with official permission, so there's not much of a chance for them to get taken down by these people or they're not using it without permission or anything like that. It makes it a lot better, especially when it's branded. This could drastically increase the quality of creative maps overall. You know, they won't just be XP farms or, you know, copy and paste like Tycoon templates anymore. or, you know, a bunch of red versus blue stuff. We've had a lot of talks about the future of creative and UEFN and how it could be going in the right direction right now. We're potentially entering like this new wave of like creative content where licensed universes actually feel alive and playable rather than being locked behind the item shop. And this is something I want to bring up too. Remember that like universe that I've talked about before, like the Disney universe thing that they promoted where they were going to have all of these things together and you'd be able to do anything, and it showed that like island with all of these different bridges to stuff. Honestly, I think that that's what this is right now. I think that that was probably just a visual representation of what they wanted to look like in quotation marks. Like it's not actually going to be that, but this is what they planned for it. You know, Star Wars being integrated, of course, Squid Game now, Marvel, all of this stuff being integrated into UEFN where people can do a lot of stuff with this licensed branded stuff with permission. I think that is really, really cool. Now, one thing that I do want to touch on, you guys, is that a couple of like weeks ago or maybe a month ago or something, there was like this viral clip of Peely, of like a guy dressed up as Peely standing in the subway. Like someone was filming him in secret and took a picture of him, and no one really knew what it was for. Now, this collab actually explains everything. It looks like Fortnite was actually recreating the Squid Game recruitment scenes, but with Fortnite characters, and it fits perfectly with the vibe of the show. If you guys have watched the show, when they recruit people or when the first guy is recruited, they find him in a subway and they play, they find him in the subway and they play this game with him, and then at the end the guy gives him a card and he goes into Squid Game. So that could have been what they were doing here. Obviously that's not confirmed, but that makes the most sense since that's like one of the most iconic scenes in Squid Game. But I really like when Fortnite does like real life marketing like this, like real life stuff, and hopefully when this does come out on June 27th we actually see the official video and it is what we thought it was. Hopefully that wasn't for something else. Now, if we do get an official Squid Game mode made by Epic or, you know, a top UEFN creator, I genuinely think it could be one of the most played creative games ever. Because it's not just fan-made this time. You know, the gameplay potential is crazy, you know, strategy, deception, stuff like that. All of that stuff is built into Squid Game, and I think it would be a lot of fun. One thing I would absolutely bet money on, like I said, I would guarantee, is that we'll get those, like, red suit guard skins with the different shaped masks. They are too iconic to not have in Fortnite, and that's what most of the concepts have been about, like you probably saw in the thumbnail as well as inside of this video. I just want to see Fortnite push these collabs to the absolute limit. You know, not just drop items, but actually let us play in the world of the show. And that's what it seems like they're doing here with this. And hopefully that's the direction that UEFN and creative maps are moving towards. This is what UEFN was made for. The future of Fortnite is stuff like this, you know, cinematic IPs, full integration, not just skins and player-driven experiences. It's really cool to see Epic putting this much into how we play, not just what we wear or buy. And this is what I wanted from Fortnite. I wanted them to do more stuff like this, and I'm really happy that they are doing it. If they continue with collabs like this, I honestly don't see a circumstance where Fortnite creative doesn't explode. I'm really hyped to see what this turns into, but let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for the Squid Game collab? Let me know. Drop a like on today's video. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code PROZEROYT, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.